does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, and today I'm very excited checking out End of the Trail from Elf Creek Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, 20 to 40 minutes to play, ages 10 plus, and in End of the Trail, you are going to be making your way up and down mountains and canyons and foothills with mules and oxen and with the other ones, the other animals, horses, that's the one, trying to get the most gold by prospecting and putting your tents on different locations. But there's also a unique push your luck aspect of this game, and there's also a pokery aspect of this game where you're going to be saving cards that you use along the way trying to make the best poker hand, and having the best poker hand at the end can be very powerful as it will give you an extra tent to put out, and it will give you victory points. What am I talking about? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of End of the Trail. So first and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet. It is 23 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's pretty well done. It should have you up and running in no time at all. I did have a couple questions here or there. We had to go back to the special card actions a couple times the first few games to get them down, but overall, I'd say it's a well-done rule booklet that answered nearly all my questions I had. So in End of the Trail, you are going to be playing a push your luck style game where you're going to be collecting gold, which will be on the back of these tiles out here. But that's not all, because over the course of 3 rounds, you are also going to be slowly creating a poker hand using these cards right here, which will have the poker suits and the poker numbers on top. And in fact, this is a standard poker deck right here. And whoever has the best poker hand at the end of the game is actually going to get to put out 1 additional tent, which means they will get more gold, and everyone will also get the chance to get gold by creating better poker hands. So the best poker hand they have here, straight flush, if you can do that, you get 4 extra gold, which is a pretty good chunk. So let's take a look at the components. Let's get into the gameplay. So first and foremost, there's a whole bunch of other tiles we are not using. Tiles, whole bunch of those going on in here. But right now I've got a 4-player version of the game set out. You'll notice that there's mountains, there's canyons, and there's foothills. And it conveniently tells you on your player aid card how those breakdowns work. So mountains, they have 2 of them are going to have 6 gold on them. 2 of them are going to have 5 gold. 2 are going to have 4. 2 are going to have 3. And none of them are going to have 1 or 2. So going to mountains is generally always going to be good. You're always going to get at least 3 gold. Moving down next, we have canyons, which are slightly worse. I mean, they're substantially worse, let's be honest here. But they're also better than the foothills, which are not the best. You're going to have 4 1s in there, 2 2s, 2 3s. So you generally want to go for mountains and then canyons and then foothills. But sometimes you'll find gold in some unsuspecting places. Next, continuing on with our player aid card, it has a nice little round overview. And one of the big complaints that I do have, and it's just because I'm kind of dumb when it comes to animals, is that I wish either this or these were labeled with the words oxen and mule. Because moving on to these cards, you're going to be playing these cards to go around the board and potentially claim, put your claims on different spaces to get gold. But what am I talking about? Let's just go ahead and show you how a mock round works. I think that's going to be the easiest way. So we're going to pretend that we're green. So we're going to grab our components right here. We will have 3 little tents, 1 big tent, and a dude. And pretty much how it works is, if you really love a spot that you're on and you don't want anyone to mess with it, so if you get a 6 pretty much, you put this on it. No one can mess with it. You're going to get 6 points at the end of the game. If you like a spot you're on, you put these on there. And people can mess with them, but they have to play specific cards to do it. And if you put your dude on a spot, that means I'm not happy with the spot, or you're lying, aka bluffing, and you are going to press your luck and go to a different spot next time. And I'll explain that a little bit later. But you're going to set these in front of you. Everybody's going to get 6 of these cards. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set aside 1 of these cards to be a part of your poker hand that you'll have at the end of the game. So this is actually a pretty decent start. I got 2 3s, I got 2 6s. So what I might do is I might actually just set aside, oh, those are all auctions. I might set aside this 6 of diamonds right here. I'm just going to set this bad boy aside. You put it all the way completely in a spot where you're never going to mess with the cards until the end of the game. I'll put mine right there. Then you start looking at the player aid card. Everybody else is also going to be doing this. And we have what's called the supplied. So we're going to bid for new cards in auction. So if you have a 4-player game, you're going to have 3 piles of cards. If you have a 2-player game, you'll have 1. If you have a 3-player game, you'll have 2. So you're going to have 1 less than the number of players. So in a 4-player game, we would have it set up like so. And right now we are going to take turns bidding on these cards. Now, how do we pay for the cards? Well, you'll notice these other cards in the upper right-hand corner have different numbers on them. So these are the cards you're going to be bidding on to get more cards. Now, let's take a look at what I set aside. I set aside a 6 of diamonds, and that was because I was hoping to get a full house with 2 3s and a 6 here. So getting one of these piles of 6s would be pretty stinking good right there. But the only problem is I only really have $3 that I'm willing to spend because I don't want to get rid of my 3s and my 6. So I have $3 I'm willing to bid. So starting with the dealer, we'll get this nice fancy looking poker chip, and this will pass around. Elf Creek Games looks pretty nice there. You can bid, and you can bid 0. 0 is the bid. So if you actually don't want any of these cards, you do want to start bidding off at 0. So I would go out on my bid, and then it's pretty typical bidding. So someone would say 0, then 1, then pass, then 2, then 3, and once you pass, you're completely out for that bidding period, and there's different bidding periods, which I'll explain in a second. So let's say I did not get it for 3. I didn't get it for 3, and I'm sad, but the guy takes this one. He wants this one. So he puts this in there. He discards enough money. So let's say he bid 4. He would have to get rid of at least cards in his hand that equal 4. And then he put this into his hand. And then it would be just the 3 people left who have not won cards yet bidding. So the bidder, if as long as he didn't win those cards, would remain the starting bidder. And he might bid 0. And then I might get this one for 3. But anywho, 3 people are going to win more cards. And let's just say I ended up paying 3. So I'd put these $2 out of here. Put them in the discard pile, and everyone can look at the discard pile whenever they want, and that's very important in this game because, like I said, standard 52 deck card. And then we move on to the next phase, but you'll notice I now have 6 cards in my hand. So we go to Prospect. This is where you're going to play 2 or 3 cards onto the table. You're going to determine. So what does that mean? You're going to take 2 or 3 cards out of your hand, and you are going to utilize these cards to move yourself around the board in order to get gold. Okay, so let's see. I got 2 auction right here. I want to get, you know what? That'll give me 3 of a kind if I can use both these. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put down these 2. Now I could put down 3, and I could put my 3 down here, but that would be a bad idea. And I'll explain why it's a bad idea in a minute. So now that we've all got our cards down, let's pretend this guy put 3 cards down, this guy put 2 cards down, and this lady put 2 cards down, and we're ready to go. We flip our cards, and we see who's going to be the first person. So I have $6 down here, 3 plus 3. Person over here has $7. Person over here has, who cares, probably less than 7. Oh, they have $8. Holy moly, they have $8. So they would actually end up going first. So you look at whoever has the most money in the top right-hand corner. But let's just focus on me for right now, because I'm the only one important in this game. So it gets to my turn. What am I going to do? Well, I am going to go to a spot that an oxen can reach, because I played an oxen card. Now, these are the oxens right here. This is the mule, and this is the horse. I know the horse, but I always get the oxens and the mule mixed up. So I can look at any of these 8 cards down here, as long as they don't have a tent on them from someone else. So let's just pretend that somebody locked down this mountain spot, blue guy locked down these canyon spots. So I can look at any of these other spots, and I am going to go ahead and tap this card, because I'm using it right now, and look at these mountains down here. Oh yeah, what do we got? Holy moly. So this is where the game would be kind of interesting for me, because I also want to use this card, because once everyone has placed out a tent at the end of this phase, you are going to put aside all the cards that you used, up to 2, into your poker pile. So remember, we have the 6 up here. So I'm really hoping to get both these 6s right here, but at the same time, there's a 6 right there, and I really want this 6. So this is where I'm going to have to change my plans slightly, and I'm actually just going to lock it down and put a tent there, because I'm not messing around. I'm getting 6 points. So everybody else would do that. Let's just say blue, lock down these canyons because they're super duper good. No, actually, purple blocked them. So now what's going to happen is any cards you didn't use, which aren't tapped, are going to get discarded. And the cards that you did use, up to 2 of those cards, go into your poker pile. So right now I have, hooray, a pair of 6s, but I really was hoping to have 3 of a kind. So, continuing on with our player aid card, we move on to the next phase, which is gamble. Actually, we just did that. Add 1 or 2 prospecting cards to your supply, draw back up to 5 cards in hand, and then we rinse, wash, and repeat. We set out 3 more piles of poker cards like so for us to bid on, because we already went through the bidding phase. You're going to do that, and then you're going to keep doing that. But let's talk about the push your luck aspect. I got a 6 right there, so let's fast forward and say we're to the next phase, and I'm going to utilize these 2 3s. So oxen and, mules. So I'm going to first look with an oxen, and look down here. I go to these foothills, and it's a 2, and I'm not happy with a 2. So what I do instead of playing a tent is I can actually play my guy here. And that's my way of saying, yeah, I'm going to look somewhere else next turn. I'm going to take another action somewhere else next turn. Now, other people can still go here. They can still look at it. And I might be bluffing. This might be a 6, and I'm just trying to throw people off. Or I might just be trying to use both my cards. But when it gets back around to me, I tap my mules. I can start looking at any of these cards here. And I'll look at these foothills right here. Hopefully it's a 1. Yes, so it's a 1, which is a bummer. So normally you'd be like, well, that's a 2, that's a 1. You clearly want to take this one, right? Well, that's the push your luck aspect of the game. Because if you look at another tile and it's lower, you have to take the lower one. Now, you don't have to tell anybody that you busted, that you found something lower. You might be like, oh, yeah, we're going to go there. But if it's not lower, then you can keep searching if you have another card played, or you can play on either one of the spots. You pick up your prospector, rinse, wash, and repeat until you finish 3 rounds. Once you finish 3 rounds, you have a whole bunch of tents all set up around a place, and then you do the poker phase, where we reveal our hand of poker cards. We see who has the best poker hand. The person with the best poker hand gets to put their last leftover tent on any unoccupied space, aka giving you more points, and then you also gain gold for how good your poker hand is. You add up the number of points, gold you have from the spots out on the board and also from your poker hand. Whoever has the most is the winner of End of the Trail. That, in a nutshell, is how the game is played. Alright then, End of the Trail from Elf Creek Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's cover the pros, let's cover the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. 1 to 4 players, or a little bit of a restricted player count. Also, 1-player version of the game, solo version. I always like to mention that for you solo players out there. I enjoyed it. I also think it's a great way to learn the game. But that being said, it can be a little bit swingy with how it's done. A little bit random, I should say. But I liked it. You play against these different computer AIs, Alvin and Jean, and a couple others. And I like that. I thought it was good. Now, let's talk about the cons. So first and foremost, the game, you can't neglect the poker aspect of the game, I think, and have a good chance to win most of the time, which was something that I was a little bit disappointed by, because what you want a good balancing act between the pressure luck aspect of the game and the poker aspect of the game. But I felt like the poker aspect was just a little bit more weighted, because everybody's going to be trying to get gold out here. But the person who has the best poker hand is going to get gold, and then they're also going to get to place out a tent there, and that's huge. I mean, that's big. That can be a lot of points if they get really lucky. Now, another comment I have of this game is that it did not go as well as I thought it was going to go with the family weight crowd. They were in the okay to good category, leaning more towards the good, but I played it with a couple of 11-year-olds in my class. I played it with a pretty large sample size. I think I played about 3 games in my class with my older kids, and none of them were buck wild about this game, which I was really surprised about, because they love press your luck games. They're huge into poker right now. They liked the theme, they liked the components, and they were like, yeah, it's okay, this is good, we play it again. It's not my favorite game. It's not in my top 10, not in my top 20, anything like that. And I thought they were going to like it a lot more, because just it seemed like a perfect storm of all these different things they liked. But I was like, all right, I'm going to play it with my game night and see what their opinion was. And I'll talk more about that in the pros, though. Another comment I have of this game is that while I thought the special ability cards, and I completely forgot to even mention the special ability cards in the middle part. I feel like a noob about that. The special ability cards in the game, there's only like 4 or 5 of them. I thought they were pretty self-explanatory, but we had a lot of questions about those. The people that I was playing with, both the kids and the adults, had a lot of questions. And so I had to go back to the rules and be like, oh, okay, so this means you can do this or this. And oh, that's a tent, and this is a camp, and there's the difference between this and this. And maybe I didn't explain the rules well enough, but I think there is also the potential that the cards could have been just a little bit more in-depth about what they did. Maybe answered just a little bit more little tiny lingering questions. There's Joker cards in the game. I didn't want to mention those. They are overpowered. And they even say that at the end. They're like, hey, there's Joker cards. They're optional. Completely optional. And they say in there, they're overpowered. I'm just letting you know, I agree. They're overpowered. Having a Joker is really sticking good. Especially with how I feel like the poker, really going for the poker as opposed to really going for the push your luck is slightly weighted. But the last con I have of this game is that I wanted a little bit more press your luck with this game. I really did. Because a lot of the times, and it even happened in the middle part, it boils down to the fact where it's like, all right, I have a good number right here. But if I go to a different spot, I might have a lower number, then I might have to take that spot, which means I'm not going to be able to take this spot, and somebody else might come back and take this spot. But then you have to factor in the fact that you're also really paying attention to putting cards into your poker hand, because putting cards into your poker hand is really stinking powerful. So, I don't know. I just wanted a little bit more press your luck in the game. And the adults that I talked to with it about that, because we like to discuss games after we play them on game nights, also agree that they wanted just a little bit more press your luck in the game. But that's what I got on the con side. Moving on to the pros. Oh, last con, box insert. This is the sleeve that goes over the box. So, practically, first and foremost, it covers up what I think is like a really gorgeous box art, so that's kind of odd. But the second thing is it takes up a little bit more space than the box should take on the shelf. I don't really care about any of that stuff, personally. But you can't lay it flat either that way. But the thing that bugs me is it doesn't actually roll, despite the fact you have to install the wheels on there. That's by design. But I really wish they would have made this so you could roll your game, because I want to roll a game. Either way, all that stuff's minor nitpicks, especially with the box insert. Moving on to the pros, I think End of the Trail is a good to very good to potentially great game with an expansion. And they do have a micro expansion out, which I do look forward to playing. And I played it with my game night. I talked how it didn't go over as well as I was hoping it would with the kids that I played with, the 11-year-old kids. Game night, really enjoyed the game. Like, oh yeah, it's good. We definitely play it again. I feel like it's a good light filler game. And that's where I really feel like this game fits its niche very well, because it is short. It's easy to learn. It's easy to teach. It says 20-40 minutes. Once you know what you're doing, you probably knock this out in about 20 to 25 minutes. It's just those 3 simple phases, and the phases are pretty straightforward. And I liked all the different phases. I liked bidding on cards. I liked that little thing where it's like, you know what, I really don't want any of this cards, but I have this $4 oxen in my hand, and I'm not going to use them for anything else, so I might as well put it here. I also really liked the balancing act of trying to press your luck while at the same time focusing on your poker hand. Now, I felt like that could have been a little bit more even, but I still like that aspect of the game, always having to focus on making sure your poker hand was good. I liked the concept of looking through the canyons and the mountains and the foothill. I like the fact that you're going to have a lot of extra tiles that you're not using from game to game to game. Like, all these tiles you're not going to use in a 4-player game, so in a 2-player game there's even less tiles. One last con I forgot to mention is I liked it best at 3 and 4 players as opposed to 1 and 2. I thought it was good at 1 and 2, but I think it goes to very good at 3 and 4. Component-wise, everything looks fantastic. Everything feels fantastic. No complaints about the components, except for the fact, box insert does not roll. I really like the fact it's a 52-card standard deck, and you can look through the discard pile, and you're like, oh, man, there's the 9 that I really need in the discard pile, and you're like, maybe we'll get to that 9 if we reshuffle the deck. And then you're like, well, now I kind of want to start putting out 3 cards instead of 2 cards. And there are some little extra layers to this game that you don't see on first play that I started to uncover after playing it a few times. And in the end of the trail, I think it is good to very good with the potential to be great. I wish it was a little bit more balanced on the thing that I said with the press your luck versus the poker hand. But still, I think it is a rock-solid game. I would definitely try before I buy if you're looking at this as a family game, which was a little bit unfortunate. But if you're looking at this as a lightweight filler game, I can't recommend it. I think I will be keeping this one, and a lot of that... Yeah, I'm going to be keeping this one, but I'm going to fully decide if I keep this one once I play with the micro expansion where it adds like a bank rob or something like that. I haven't even touched it yet. I want to play the base game and then do that one. But that is End of the Trail from Elf Creek Games. If you're looking for a lightweight filler game, plays really well at 3 and 4 players, this might be one you want to check out. If you're enjoying this Origins coverage, no, it's not Origins coverage. What the hell am I talking about? If you enjoyed this review, please sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Have you ever had the desire to pan for gold? For me personally, no, I've had no desire. I know there's like reality TV shows, and my roommate used to watch that stuff, and I just had no desire to do it. But I will say, one of my coworkers, this really nice woman named Cindy, I worked with her for like 5 years, and then she retired, and she and her husband went out and they went panning for gold, and she would send me pictures of all these beautiful places they were going up in the mountains looking for gold, and I kind of do have the urge to go do it, not on like a professional level where I think I'm going to make money, but just to try it out and say, yeah, we went panning for gold last weekend. It was fun. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever had the desire to go panning for gold, or have you gone panning for gold? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.